Thank you. It's good to see everybody. Yay, look at all of us in person. Look at all of us. I can't see you online, but I know you're there. It's one of those beautiful afternoons in this room where, you know, half of us get to look out into the sunshine, into the lake. Well, all of us get to look out into the lake, but the sun divides the room, right in half. And you can tell a lot by people who sit in the shade and then people who go to the sun. The cats and the dogs. Anyway, I'll stop with all of that. We'll settle. Thanks for coming to practice to class today. We'll give ourselves a little bit of time to check in and arrive in your practice. So if you prefer to start sitting, please feel free to find a nice, comfortable sitting shape. You can always sit on the floor. You can grab a blanket or a block if you're at home. If you need to sit up on something, you can sit in a chair. Feel free to come onto your back. You can lie back and bend your knees. And as you settle and set up here, just giving and allowing some time to transition into practice. And so as we transition from what we were doing before we arrived, as we transition, giving our bodies some time to settle. So we'll pause for a couple moments, a couple breaths to feel and allow your body to settle. Body connecting with relationship to breathing. Take a couple moments. Feeling, noticing your breath. And breath and body connecting in relationship to your mind. Gentle reminder that you have total agency over your practice. So if something doesn't feel safe or supportive in your body or in your breathing or in your mind, please know that you can back out of an exercise or a yoga pose. You can back out at any time and find support and stability however you need to. So the practice isn't only a physical practice. The physical practice has a very important relationship with your breathing and with your mind. And so when we come to mind and thoughts, you're going to notice a lot of thoughts through, the next 45 minutes through our practice. And so part of this practice is learning how to recognize thoughts and then paying attention to how we respond to those thoughts. So as we're lying back or sitting here in this shape, most likely your breath will change, your mind will wander, and your thoughts will change. Just allow a few moments to open to the awareness of change. And if you find it helpful, bring that practice of mindful self-compassion a little more into the forefront. So mindful self-compassion is when we treat ourselves just like we would treat one of our nearest, dearest, closest friends. So treating ourselves with that same love and kindness. We'll take a couple moments, so allowing ourselves to be in our present time experiences just as they are. I'm going to take about 5 to 8 more breaths right here. In the practice of noting with acceptance, curiosity, and kindness your present time experience. You might want to check in with the tone of your voice. I don't know about anyone else. Sometimes the tone of my voice gets kind of bossy. It doesn't always sound so healing or kind. So paying also some attention to the tone of your voice as, maybe you hear yourself talking to yourself. You could send some words of kindness. And we'll give ourselves a few moments to just feel your body. Take 2 more full inhales and 2 more full exhales. And then shifting your attention, we're going to come onto your back. So if you're sitting, let's just come onto your backs. We're not going to be on our backs very long. We're going to outstretch your legs. So taking your legs straight out with your heels down and your toes up towards the ceiling, like you could imagine you're standing, but you're on your back. And then bringing your arms down by your side with your palms facing down. So in this shape, it would be like you were standing vertically in standing mountain. Very different because we're on our backs and you get the floor here for feedback and support. So starting with the back of your head, can you trace and feel your bones, especially the bones that you feel making contact with the earth? So back of the head, down through the shoulders. I can feel the back of my arms to my forearms. It's kind of a little gap there into my hands. Notice what you feel just in that place, from your head to your shoulders, down through your arms. And then noticing your spine. So if you start at your head, for example, I can feel my head, but not really my cervical neck. It's up off of the floor. It has its neutral curve. And then I can feel my thoracic middle spine down between my shoulder blades and my ribs. And then as I go a little lower in my spine, I don't really feel my lumbar spine. My lumbar spine has its neutral curve, but then I can feel the spine from the lumbar into the hips. And so give yourself a moment. What do you feel in your spine from the head down to your tail? And then taking some awareness out into the back of your pelvis, down your legs, noticing what you feel. And then if it's not too overwhelming, see if you can just connect all the body into the floor. What do you feel? And then bring your hands onto your lower abdominals, onto your navel. And without changing the shape of your skeleton in relationship to the floor, when you exhale, draw your navel down into the floor. And when you inhale, feel your navel float up. And do that a couple more times. So trying to keep stability, not moving your skeleton. So try not to move your pelvis or your low back. As you exhale, navel draws towards the floor. And then adding the feeling of your ribs. So adding as you exhale, your ribs drawing down and in, and your navel drawing to the floor. 3 cycles of breath here. Then when you feel your 3rd or 4th breath, bend your knees and figure out how you want to come on up to sitting. So you could roll over or roll all the way on up and take your feet out in front of you with your toes down on the ground. And then we're going to sit up on your sit bones and hold on to the back of your legs. And then using the muscle memory from when you were standing up. So you can come back to that muscle memory, feeling the head through the back shoulders, down your spine. Seeing here how far you can sit back without really moving too dynamically through your spine. So trying to keep that spine pretty neutral. So as you sit back, you might feel navel drawing back to help support your low abdominals, to support your posture. Another way to really think or feel this in your body is if you had a pole. So if you had a pole, the back of your head and your mid back down to your tailbone would be on that pole. And you would go back and pull yourself forward. So your shoulders, your ribs, and your hips stay stacked. And you can take your arms up off your legs if you want more challenge. And if you want even more challenge, it's not necessarily about how far you go back, right? We all know we can go all the way back if we really wanted to. The challenge is more internal. You can't see the challenge. The challenge is going back without tensing in your chest or your throat, okay? And even more of a challenge is going back without tensing and really tugging in the hip flexors or in your hip creases. So we'll do 3 more. You add your own challenge. So those are all kind of more physical challenges, we could probably say. There might be some mental challenge, breath challenge. And then you'll sit back just to where you quiver, and where you quiver, hopefully in relationship to less tension in your chest and your hips. And then we're going to reach your arms up. So as the arms come up, pull your navel back so you have lots of support in your low belly and your low back, and then pull yourself up to sitting. Reach out. Palms can face up. If you need to hold on to the back of your legs, always hold on to the back of the legs, and we'll sit back. And then we'll lift the arms and pull ourselves forward. One more time, reaching, sitting back, meeting yourself right where you are. And then we'll come on up. Hands can come down onto your legs and we'll pause here. And we'll take a couple of moments to ground again through your sit bones. So rock on your butt bones and feel those sit bones, letting the sit bones anchor. Nice, natural, easy lift up through the spine. Just that little bit of work was hard for me with my mask on in terms of breathing. So that's why we're pausing. Catch your breath. And then with your next exhale, we'll come all the way on up to standing. Woo. So as you come on up to standing, if you're in the room and you want to look out at the lake, please turn to face the lake. It's quite beautiful out there. Just bringing your legs parallel and coming full circle. Remember, we were just lying on our backs. And so when we are lying on our backs with our arms down by our side, we had the benefit of the floor of the ground to really help us feel our posterior backside. Now we're just standing in the middle of the room. And so can you come back, feeling the back of your head, down the shoulders, down the arms? What would it feel like if you were at a wall? And then your spine. So back of the head down through your neck, all the way down into your tailbone. And what would you feel through the back of your hips, down your legs? So another way of saying, finding your neutral in your vertical, in your standing. Can you keep this awareness and then finding your low abdominals by exhale, taking your navel back without moving your skeleton, just like we did on the floor. So we're going to take a couple breaths standing. Some of us might feel it more subtly. Some of us might be quite like, whoa, I can really feel that. Okay. So remember, we're all different. As you exhale, ribs drawing down and in, navel drawing back. Two more times. Exhale, ribs down, navel in. And then the next time you exhale and you feel your ribs draw down and your navel back, we're going to bend your knees. Just a little bend. And then we're going to push into your feet and straighten. Exhale, bend. Inhale, straighten. Now, without looking down, we did some footwork last week. So if you were in class, I think maybe Friday, we did some footwork. So ball of the foot, so big toe to pinky toe to heel. And then you can vision and feel your knee tracking a little more straight out over that middle toe. Do two more. So chest up, chin up. And then we'll come all the way on up to standing and pause and add a little bit of arm challenge, taking your arms out in front like you're going to do a double handshake. Now, you're going to take your hands together and interlace. You could put your right thumb on top. And then bend your knees a little bit. Find that little bit of squat, like a high chair almost. And then without pushing your chest forward too much, reach your arms up a little bit in front of your ears and pull the wrists up, pull the knuckles up and sink into your hips. So let your hips feel nice and grounded. Let your feet feel nice and wide and heavy for your base. And then with an inhale, push into your feet to straighten your legs to reach up. And exhale, pull your arms forward and down in front of you. I'm going to do it one more time. Bend your knees a little bit. Feel your feet. Reach your arms forward. Reach up, stretching through the side body, through the back ribs. Navel to spine, ribs draw down. So a little more about breath. When you feel your exhale, knit your ribs and draw your navel back, you're going to reach your knuckles up higher. Okay. So feel your exhale. And when you feel your exhale, reach your knuckles up, up, up. 2 breaths. Then see if you can keep your knees bent and bring your hands to your hips. Okay. And then we're going to tip forward, trying to keep that low back pretty long and flat like. Okay. So we don't need a whole lot of rounding, warming up in your hips and coming back up. So imagining you had to tip over to pick something up. Can you work from the pelvis, hips first? And we'll do one more. We'll come all the way up and we'll tip over. And this time when you tip over with that little bend in your knee, we'll tuck your chin just a little bit and look down at the floor and build a standing tabletop. So your hands can rest gently on your thigh bones. Come back to your experience, noticing what you're feeling, noticing your physical body, your breathing, and your mind. Will take 2 breaths. Remember, we have to work against gravity here. So still navel drawing up gently, ribs drawing down and in. Now, shift gears all the way up to your shoulder blades. So maybe you can visualize your shoulder blades and set those shoulder blades on your back. So if you need to take your hands off your knees or off your thigh bones, do it. You can draw your elbows up a little bit. Take your arms out. You want to feel the shoulder blades nice and snug on your back. Just like if you were supporting yourself in your table on the floor, okay? I'm going to keep the shoulder blades nice and strong on your back. Take 3 breaths. And then press down into your feet and come all the way on up. Come back to your standing mountain, imagining you were maybe at a wall or on the floor. And again, that subtleness of the exhale, drawing the ribs down and in and the navel back. 1 cycle, 1 inhale, 1 exhale. With your next exhale, when you feel your navel draw back, sweep your arms out and up. If, right, your hands come up and you can make a fist or interlace your fingers, do it. Pull the arms up. Maybe your arms are in parallel. That works too. Sink into your little high chair. Pull your hip creases back, reach, reach, reach out in front. And this time, go from your standing table all the way up and over to a forward fold. You can bend your knees enough. You could put your ribs on your thigh bones if that works for you. Lift your chest and put those shoulder blades back on your back, nice and firm. Strong shoulder blades on your back. Exhale, fold, and then plant your hands and step your feet back and build your first downward facing dog of the class. If it's a little easier for you to start down dog from table, go there. So you can come to table first and then back to dog. Feel free to pedal out your feet. We'll take 3 more breaths. So with these 3 breaths, coming back to that relationship of your body, your breath, and your mind. When you feel your exhale, see if you can feel that rib navel connection again. And then with the next exhale, step your feet up to your hands. Bend your knees. And then with an exhale, we're going to come all the way up to that high chair feeling. And then we'll anchor down, inhale, come all the way on up to standing, arms come down, and we'll take 3 breaths. Great, here we go again. Sweep your arms forward, bring them up, either keep them parallel or interlace, find your high chair. So we're going to add on a little bit of a challenge. We're going to lift the left heel and maybe balance a little bit on the right foot, leg, balancing. You can keep your left toes down or pick up your left foot. Pause to notice what's happening. Then bring your arms out in front of you and slide your left foot back and step into a high lunge. Okay, hands can come to your pelvis. Pause. Set up your foundation. So you want to first feel really strong. If you're going to go build a building, you start with the foundation. So build from the ground up. Can you feel your feet really strong and steady? Then can you feel your legs connect into your pelvis? Pelvis connect into your low abdominal core areas. So again, navel to spine. And then stack your shoulders. And bend your right knee a little bit. If you want more challenge, bend your right knee. Great. Maybe this is where you stay. Maybe you swing your arms forward and take them up and interlace the fingers. Feel the weight in the lower body in relationship to the pull up. Try not to lose the grounding. Keep the grounding to stretch up. And then we're going to fold forward into projected lunge. So as you tip forward, pause. Make sure you're not swinging your right butt cheek way out. Tuck it in and pull your right arm out of your right hip crease. So feel your right hip crease draw back and your right arm reach forward. And then fold all the way forward and just come to tabletop. Pause in your tabletop. Breathe and notice. Maybe tabletop is right where you want to be. Maybe you go back to downward facing dog. Maybe you push back to child's pose. 3 rounds of breath. And then with your next exhale, we have to start to figure out how we're going to come on up to standing. So start that planning and we'll meet back. In standing, you can walk your feet up to your hands, sweep your arms out and up. And then we come back. We just meet back right where we started for 3 breaths in that standing mountain. And then when you're ready, double handshake. Interlace. Maybe you switch the thumbs. Reaching up, finding that high chair. Can you still feel the ribs drawing down, the navel drawing back? A little more challenging. Feel the feet first, and then from the grounding and the width and the strength and the connection of the feet, lift your right heel. You might come up on your tiptoes. You might keep your arms up this time. You might bring your arms forward. We got to build that high lunge. Bring your hands to your hips. 2 hip bones underneath your shoulders. Build your foundation. A little more physical challenge. The left knee can go out a little bit. You still feel navel to spine, rib connection. And we can interlace the hands or keep your hands in your hips. So make it as challenging as you need to stay in control, okay? So we never want to lose control. So as you come into your projected lunge, having your hands out in front is going to be a lot more challenging than hands at your hips or hands on your knees. So pick where you need to be. Draw that left hip crease back. Try not to push it out to the side. Acknowledge it's hard, but then also acknowledge you're really strong and you're sticking with it. And then come down to your table. Pause to breathe and feel and notice. We're probably all breathing a little heavier. Our heart rates are all going a little faster. And then pick, do you want a down dog, a child's pose, or do you want to stay right here in tabletop? We'll take 5 breaths this time. If you're in the room and you have a mask on, the mask is going to give you feedback. Try and come back to breathing into your nose. So easy to mouth breathe with your mask. Feel the subtlety of the exhale through your navel. And when you're ready, step your hands and feet together. And then we'll slowly all come on up to standing. And we'll pause in standing and take 3 breaths. And this time we'll swing your arms forward in a double handshake. And then we're going to swing the arms down and back. So trying to feel the arms move independently or independent from the ears, the shoulders, the ribs, the hips. So can you keep your spine really pretty stable, almost like you were in a plank pose and you're just swinging your arms. It's probably some subtle, maybe big rotation you feel in your arm bones. So your arm bone rolls in the shoulder. You might feel as the arm goes behind you, there's some internal arm rotation. And as it comes forward, there's an external arm bone rotation. So we'll do a couple more so you can focus on that a little bit. Arms come forward, they roll away. Arms go back, they roll in. Now, when your arms go behind you, we'll pause. And trying to keep your chest a little more relaxed. So you could take an exhale and invite your ribs to draw down and back. You can even look down and see that your arm bone has some rolling in feel, palms up. From here, we're going to find that high chair again. So just giving yourself a moment to ground through your feet to find that high chair feel. And we're going to exhale, swing the arms all the way up. If you want to interlace, you can, or you could take them up parallel. And then we're going to reach and fold all the way forward and over. Let your head hang. Inhale, lift your chest, put those shoulder blades nice and strong on your back, standing table. Exhale, fold. And then step your left foot all the way back. If you need to pad your knee and you don't have anything else, you can roll your mat over and try and build this little 90-90 lunge. Awesome. Now, the back foot can be tucked under or it can be flat. It's personal preference, okay? So from right here, I'm just going to come forward and back a little bit. Trying to keep this right knee going straight out over the middle toe. My right leg really likes to fall in. So I personally have to pay a lot of attention to keeping this knee a little more straight-ish. And then when you find a place you feel anchored and grounded and some length and strength in this back left hip, that's kind of where you want to settle. And we're going to do something similar with the arms. We're going to take them out into the handshake. And we're going to swing them back. We're going to swing them forward. And one more time, we're going to go back. And then we're going to swing them all the way on up. If you want to interlace at the top, you can. And we're going to anchor down and pull up. Great. And then we're going to start to come forward and bring your palms into your chest. Maybe pick up that left back leg to projected lunge. And then take 3 breaths. Now, if having your back leg is up is too much, please bring it down. Listen to your body. Give you feedback. Respond to the feedback. Exhale, plant your hands. And when you plant your hands, a little different here. Come up on your finger pads. Pull your fingers in and up so you're strengthening. And just pause for a moment to get some strength in the hands. And then you can choose. This is going to be more challenging for your fingers by all means to step back with finger pads or come flat to plank. And then lower to your table. If you haven't already, come to flat hands and build your table. And breathe into your back. Exhale, downward facing dog. Give yourself a couple of breaths. If you need something that's a lot more powerful, more strength-based, come forward to plank and do a few rounds of push-ups. Everybody has somewhere they can be. Awesome. From your exhale, feel the subtlety of the navel drawing up. And then with the next exhale, when you feel that navel, walk your feet up to your hands. Bend your knees a little bit. You're going to come all the way up to high chair with your arms overhead this time. Reach. And then pull yourself up. Arms come down, 3 breaths to come back to your present time experience. Come back to your practice. Find your little chair and start the arm swing. Next time the arms swing back, just pause for a moment to feel that. Great, swing the arms all the way on up. Maybe reach, maybe interlace. And then pull yourself forward and pull your hip creases back. So you're getting super long as you come up and over. Right leg steps all the way back this time. Come on up, pad your knee if you need, do what you need, adjust however you need to. Build your little 90-90 lunge. And then a little bit of slide forward and pull back. Back toes can be tucked or flat. Find just the right place. Strengthen connection through the lower body to help support that float and lift up of the upper body. Take the arms forward and then back. Knit the ribs, draw the navel back, and then swing the arms up. Heavy through the hips, you got this. Lift up through the back. If you need more, lift your back leg. Come forward into your projected lunge. Bring your hands to your chest, maybe elbows to your knees, 2 breaths. Hands come down, fingertips. Try and keep your fingertips either plank pose or tabletop this time. 3 breaths. downward facing dog. So come down to flatten your hands, find that stability, index finger to thumb, and press back and build your downward facing dog. Again, if you need more challenge, come forward and do 3 or 4, maybe 5 push-ups. If you need less challenge, come back down to your hands and knees and give yourself a couple breaths. And then exhale, feel your navel draw in. We have to come all the way down onto your belly. So figure out how you want to come down. Maybe you want to come down through tabletop, or you come down through a plank pose really slow to a chaturanga all the way down. We're going to bring your hands just down by your sides. Tuck your chin. And then try and let your forehead get pretty close to the floor with your nose. And give yourself a moment to listen to the breath in your back. Two more cycles, rounds of breath. All right, so coming back to muscle memory, pin your shoulder blades on your back. So remember at the start or fairly close to the beginning, we were in that floating table and we were putting the shoulder blades on the back. So see if you can feel those 2 shoulder blades, almost like someone's pushing the shoulder blade down onto your rib cage. And you're going to take a big inhale and the ribs are going to press up into the shoulder blades. You want to keep the shoulder blades pinned on your back as you reach your legs really long. Push into your hands and lift your chest, baby cobra. So you're going to peel your chest up and then you're going to reach long and come down. Now decide, that might have felt really good. You might not want to come up as high. You might want more physical back muscle challenge. You can take your hands off the floor and lift up. You can take your arms out wide and lift up. So we'll take 2 or 3 more. Lifting and releasing. And then we'll bring your hands back in by your rib cage. More traditional yoga-like Salabhasana locust. Press down to lift the chest. Feel your pubic bone. Press into your pubic bone to lift the legs. Maybe take the arms back, palms up. Everybody finds a place. If you need to bring your arms down, do that. 3 breaths, stretch and reach. One more breath, you can do it, and then lower down. Hands can come underneath your forehead. You could look to the right, you could look to the left a little bit. And give yourself a moment. Ooh, and just settle into the front body, grounding. Breathing into your back. And then we're going to take 2 more exhales. Planting your hands down by your lower ribs. And your choice, you could press up to tabletop. You could press up to chaturanga plank. So chaturanga is where you press up just a little bit above the floor and then all the way up to plank. We're going to bend your knees. We're going to walk your knees a little bit wide. Bring your feet together and push back. Come up on your finger pads. And reach and stretch through the front of the armpits. And pull your hip creases back. So see if you can feel your hip creases. And imagine there's a strap, some weight pulling the hip creases back. And as you exhale, keep your navel drawing up into your spine so your low back stays nice and long. And then you can let your chest relax a little more towards the floor. So again, fingers reaching in opposition to the hip creases drawing back. The closer your sternum gets to the floor, the more you need to keep your navel drawing up to really help support the low back. Settling into your body for 2 inhales and 2 exhales. And then with your second or third exhale, pull yourself into tabletop. And then either find a child's pose, a sitting pose, maybe crisscross applesauce, or coming all the way onto your back. So we'll take the next couple minutes here just for some more internal breath awareness, slowing things down, coming back to a little more rest and calm and ease. So a little bit like how we started, intentionally slowing back down. Just giving yourself a moment to feel the physical body in relationship to the breathing body, in relationship to your mind. We always take the last minute, minute and a half, 2 minutes for self-care. So doing whatever it is here you feel you need to help the rest of your day be a little more grounded, a little calmer. Noticing your present time experience. Each one of us really different. So noticing what it feels like for you in your body with your breath. And then as you take the next couple exhales, if you're on your back doing a full body stretch or maybe drawing your knees in to stretch out your low back. If you're in child's pose, you could slowly come to tabletop and do some cat-cows. So it's kind of coming out of that shape back to seated. And then we meet back up in seated eventually. Of course, if you're at home or in your office, you can stay on your back as long as you want to. And then we come on up to seated and we're just going to sweep your arms out and up and do a nice upper body stretch. Little side bend. Thanks everyone for coming again. Everyone online, thank you so much. Everyone in person, high fives. We went a little long today. So hopefully you don't have anything right at 12:50. Thanks everyone. I hope to see you on Tuesday. Have a fabulous weekend. Thank you.